flies in the buttermilk, shoot, fly, shoo. Skip to Maloo, my darling. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Skip to Maloo, my darling. I lost my little girl, what'll I do? Lost my little girl, what'll I do? Lost my little girl, what'll I do? I'll skip to Maloo, my darling. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Lulu, skip to Maloo. Skip to Maloo, my darling. I'll get another one prettier than you. I got another one prettier than you. I got another one prettier than you. Skip to Maloo, my darling. Since that old bear bit my foot 3 years ago.
Well, you know, getting bit and getting married is pretty much the same thing. Both of them can scar up a fella.
Oh, that's a fine thing to say to a young couple on the verge of matrimony.
Somebody's got to warn the innocent.
You can still change your mind if you want to, Mason Pruitt.
I've been bit.
Well, I say you're both mighty fortunate. You ever think about getting married?
Sometimes.
Well, why don't you?
I wore chains once. Didn't take too kindly to it.
Oh, now.
It's so sweet of you and Daniel to help us celebrate, Rebecca.
Amy, you and Mason are two of our most favorite people. Having you married and settled down as neighbors is something we think pretty wonderful. You know, he's a mighty fine fella.
Now, there's no need to give him a big head. Besides, he's not doing too poorly.
I'd say he's doing real well.
More, Daniel?
Yeah, please, Simpson.
How about you, Mason? Oh, no. Business, always interfering with pleasure. Abraham, strike up a tune. Ain't nobody here to hear you slurp that cider. All right, now, gentlemen, what can I do for you?
Rum.
Put us up.
I can. How long you gonna stay?
Till we leave. Somebody partying?
That young couple dancing over there's gonna get married.
I'd like to buy a drink for the newlyweds.
We ain't wed yet.
More's the reason.
No start, nothing, anchor.
Given a chance, I would. You're the lucky fella, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Boil one down on me.
Thanks.
You gonna drink to this nice young couple? Good luck, miss.
Thank you.
Hey, swing around, Mason. You can rest up after the wedding.
We'll go get our packs.
Mason, what's wrong? Well, come on then. Let's dance. Mason,
Amy, go back inside.
what's the matter?
Amy, please.
Mason, I don't understand.
Look, I'll be right in.
Please, tell me.
Look, Amy, when there's something to tell you, I'll tell you. Now go back inside.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe. The rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
Anyone here?
Morning. I'll be right there.
How many people were sleeping up there in that room last night?
Why don't you count their legs and divide by 2? You're so curious.
I ain't. That take care of it?
Rustle you up some grub?
Now, let's get out of here. What's eating you?
Where you from?
Nosy, huh?
Curious.
Why?
You ever been on the Cumberland?
We've been there and other places. We move around.
Town called Shelby?
Never heard of it.
Sonny, be ashamed to widow that nice young girl before she's even wifed.
Good morning, Mason. Something wrong?
No, nothing wrong.
You know those men?
Hey, Kid spotted the granddad of all turkeys down by the river rapids.
Fat and Juicy strutting around boasting how he's the only bird in Kentucky fit for a wedding feast, and we don't aim to disappoint him.
And early time is the best time for a turkey hunt.
How do you know that?
When the sun gets hot, the turkeys eat a lot.
And when the sun gets high, turkeys on the fly.
You got mighty unsociable all of a sudden last night.
Just not the partying kind, I guess.
I wonder what put a chip on his shoulder.
Let's move on.
Move on. We got pelts to sell.
And we can do that in Salem.
Now, why haul them all the way there?
Shelby.
What about Shelby?
Nothing. Hanker, let's get out of here.
Well, I don't see no reason to. None at all.
You do as you please. I'm getting out.
Smith, what's wrong with you? You got fluttergut.
Face up to it, Hanker. We don't want nothing behind us catching up.
But that boy...
I don't know nothing about that boy. I don't want to know. Yeah. I got fluttergut.
Mason, it's your party.
Since killing just for the use of killing.
The party.
Figured it'd be any party. At least not for a while.
Gabe, you got any line fish hooks?
Never without.
You and Israel catch a mess of trout. Becky'd like that.
But, Pa...
Come on, Israel. There's a pool down the way. Got trout so big, they feed on beaver steak.
Trout and beaver steak?
Come on, I'll show you.
Mason, you may need this.
Thanks. How far back can you remember?
Strange question.
I mean, 10 years, 15 years?
There might be some before. It might be jumbled up a bit. I can tell you my first clear memory. There was this high hill called Penn's Mount. We lived close by it, Ole Township. That's where the Schuylkill nudges its way out of the mountains and settles in for its run to the sea. One day, my dad took me to the top of that summit. I was maybe 9, 10 years old. First time I could see over and beyond the mountain. What a sight. Mountains and valleys trundling west. Seemed like there was no end to it, like they went on forever. And there'll never be enough years for me to forget that. Every time I crest a mountain, I think back to it.
Oh, it's good to remember, Daniel. You're lucky. You know, the first thing that sticks in my mind, my first memory, nothing like yours. Nothing at all like yours. I was a kid then, like you, about 9. Had a birthday the week before, but I don't remember that. What I do remember is a knife and a scream. We was down on the Cumberland, a township called Shelby. My pa, he trapped a little, farmed a little. Bothered nobody. Why they came on us, I don't know. It was 2 of them. He was drunk, fighting mad. Was shouting and shooting. My pa hid me in this potato bin. And I saw the face. When he turned his horse, he had this pitchfork mark from his eye to his lip. Well, that's what I remember, Daniel. It's the first thing I remember. Killed both of them, my ma and my pa. Sometimes a day passes, never a night when I don't see it all happening again. Daniel, I've been looking at faces for 15 years with that pitchfork mark. And last night I saw it again.
15 years, Mason, how can you be sure?
How many men you know carry a mark like that?
One man has one, another one can.
He's the one, there ain't no other.
Why don't you tell me? What are you going to do about it?
I don't know, Dan. But I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say. Think on it, Mason. Don't go off half-cocked. Don't try and handle it yourself.
To the word.
Well, who else is going to handle it for me?
Well, we got the law for.
For something that happened 15 years ago. No witnesses, my word against theirs. Daniel, I don't know much about the law, but I do know they'd walk out of any courthouse as free as birds.
Probably.
What do you suggest?
Just this. In trying to get at him, don't trap yourself.
Well, that's some advice.
Someone else involved in this. Amy.
Daniel, I don't pretend to be as wise as you and know what you know. But there's this juice that runs in a man that goes right through to his bones. It says payback. And not you, not Amy, not anybody in the world can turn it off. I'm gonna get that man with a pitchfork mark, Daniel. Payback.
told me. Couldn't you tell me yourself?
Amy, what's the difference?
When you asked me to marry, you asked me to share.
Amy, you can't share what's past.
But this isn't past, Mason. It's with you now. Always will be. I understand that.
Amy, this is for me alone.
What are you going to do?
It's pretty obvious, isn't it?
You can't do this to me, Mason Pruitt. You can't shove me aside like a dish of gruel that you're through with. I won't let you do this.
I'm not shoving you aside, Amy. I gotta handle this myself, that's all.
And we're not even going to talk about it.
No.
You take the law into your own hands, Mason, and right or wrong, you're a marked man. You're scarred, just like the man you're after.
Look, I'm scarred already knowing they've done it and breathing free.
What if you're wrong?
Well, I'm not wrong.
They could just look like the men you saw, Mason. Memory plays tricks.
It was like it happened yesterday. That's as clear as I see it.
If it would bring them back.
They're gonna pay, Amy.
Mason, don't do it.
Look, Amy, I've gotta do it. It's like a lump of hate inside of me that won't stop aching. Don't you see that?
No. All I see is waste. Kin dead. A man spoiling to right something that can't be righted by more death. Dreams turning sour.
Amy, you're asking me to forget.
Yes, for me.
Look, even if I tried, and I can't, I'd never be good for you again. I'd taint everything I have. If I'm marked as a murderer, Amy, I won't hold you to your
I'm pledged to be your wife. I'll share what's ours.
Any idea which way them trappers were headed?
You talk about Hanker and Smith. They're just passing through, I reckon. They didn't say.
Hi, Mason.
What do you want with them, Mason?
They have a pack horse.
Well, they did. Stable it over to Hiram.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, you go after that turkey now? Wrong time of day, you know. You know what they say, before the sun gets hot.
Go on home, Israel.
Did I say something wrong, Mason? I'm very sorry if I did.
No, Israel, I just got some business to take care of, that's all.
How are you, Mason?
Fine.
What can I do for you?
2 men stabled a pack horse here last night.
That's right.
It's gone?
Uh-huh. A couple hours back.
Headed where?
Well, they didn't say. I'd guess Salem. They took the trail down that way. They're a wicked-looking pair, those two. If you're thinking of joining up with them, I wouldn't. Well, how are you, Israel?
Fine. How are you?
Now, don't ask a man over 50 that question. He'll tell you.
Is that far enough, or do we go right on through to China?
Well, what would we do in China?
Dig a hole the other way and come home?
Give me a hand. Come on. What are you doing, young man?
Nothing.
Did you do your chores?
Yes, Pa? Pa, why is Mr. Mason going to Salem?
I didn't know he was.
He was asking Mr. Wilson about a couple of fellas. Mr. Wilson said they were wicked looking. They were headed for Salem.
I thought he'd take time to reason this thing out.
When a man got that kind of suspicion in him, he ain't gonna stop short of killing.
Killing? You mean he's after those two?
Gabe, if we cut through Lincoln Gap, we can cut him off.
But why, Pa? Why would Mr. Mason want to do it?
Son, you go tell your ma that I'm off with Gabe.
Now, wait a minute. If you don't want to tell me, you don't have to give me a chore.
Israel, Mason thinks that those 2 men killed his ma and pa a long time ago.
If they did, why are you stopping him?
Because Mason could be mistaken.
He wouldn't go after him unless he was sure, would he?
Now, you run along and tell your ma. Let's go, Gabe.
up off of there. Let's keep moving.
You can keep moving if you want, but I'm gonna have me a little bite to eat and catch me a little nap.
I told you I want to get as much space between me and Boonesboro as I can get before nightfall.
Get going, I'll catch up.
Well, you've got less brains than that mule there. Why do you think he mentioned Selby?
Well, now, I wouldn't know that. Would you?
Now, let me remind you, Hanker. We left Cumberland on a mighty fast run.
We're always leaving on a mighty fast run, and I'm getting sick and tired of it.
You don't remember, huh?
I don't remember nothing. That's why I can sleep so good.
Listen to me. I'm moving fast. I'm getting rid of them pelts as soon as I get to Salem. You're with me, you get your share. You're not, it's your tough luck.
What's the matter?
Got me a thorn.
Well, that'll ease up once we're over that ridge.
We got a right to do this, Boone?
Do what?
It's Mason's concern.
Well, that's true enough.
Put your nose in somebody else's business, 9 times out of 10, get your head shot off.
Well, now, Gabe, you've seen it and so have I. Take a proud man, independent, gets into trouble and tries to work it out all by himself. And you've got 2 choices. One, you can stand aside and watch him suffer. Or you can give him a hand and try to work it out. Feel better?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Mason.
Gabe, what are you doing here? I told you I wanted to handle this myself.
You know there's a time for talking, and this ain't it.
Making me jumpy with all your peering over your shoulder.
Heard something.
You're always hearing something. Put some grub into you. Come on. Sit down.
Lay those rifles down. My name is Boone. Daniel Boone. Let me have yours.
You out of your senses coming on us like this?
Just cautious. Want to make sure your firearms are unloaded.
What's your business?
At the moment, saving your necks. Whether or not it's worth it, I can't say.
I'm Hanker. He's Smith. We look after our own necks.
Mm-hmm. Prime pelts.
Spring beaver.
That's your top price in Boonesboro.
We'll get more in Salem.
Might be, but I doubt the trip will be worth the difference.
Speak your mind.
Well, I'm suggesting that we take a little trip to Boonesboro.
You're crazy.
Well, that he ain't. But I'd like to hear the reason.
Get to the bottom of this Shelby matter.
Shelby matter? What Shelby matter? That kid's just shooting off his mouth.
That kid back there's a full-grown man with 15 years of hate boiling in his veins. He saw his own mother and father murdered before his eyes.
So what? We never did it.
He thinks you did.
So he thinks we did. So what?
No matter where you go or how far, he'll find you, track you down, and shoot you both.
We can take care of ourselves.
You don't get the point.
Don't I?
I'm thinking about him. I don't want to see him do this. I don't want to see him outside of the law.
So your idea is we go back to Boonesboro, walk up to him and say, here we are, fire away.
I guarantee nothing will happen to you.
Just what good is this going to do?
It'll give us a chance to get to the bottom of this Shelby business. If you're not the man Mason Pruitt thinks you are, I'll buy you pelts and pay you double the price of them for your trouble.
And if it turns out otherwise?
Well, we haven't got much law, but we got enough for that.
What if we say no?
I reckon I'll have to get just a bit more persuasive.
Cincinnatus?
Move out of my way. Is Amy?
Where's Mason?
Oh, he's inside. He's all right. Now, don't worry.
You can't keep me here forever, Gabe. Not Boone, not you, not nobody.
Why don't you take it easy, Mason?
Mason.
Stop it!
Stop it!
You ain't going nowhere till Boone get here.
Mason! Oh! Oh!
I won't forget this, Gabe.
Mason, please!
You sure don't make it easy, Mason.
Please! Mason! Wait outside, Dave.
You sure you can handle this?
I agreed to marry him, didn't I?
Step back.
Gabe, your arm.
Taking with the wildcat. You're going to get clawed.
No. Come on over at the well, and I'll doctor it up for you, Gabe.
Look, it's none of their business in the first place.
Mason, be still.
Jumping me on that trail, carting me back here like a sack of corn. What's gonna do them no good, Amy? Because I'm gonna get those two, and nobody's gonna stop me.
Daniel and Gabe did this for your own good.
Yeah.
Mason. Don't turn away from me. Daniel's brought those two men back to Boonesboro. He's bringing them here now. He says maybe this way we can get to the truth.
Look, the truth is they killed my folks. That's the truth.
You know that for a fact.
Yeah, I know it.
No room to be wrong.
Amy, I know it.
It's just that in a case like this, it's best to be double sure. For both our sakes. I talked to Daniel. I told him you'd listen. And you will. Won't you?
Yes, Amy, I will for you.
Take this a little chancy, Gabe?
A little? A lot.
Howdy, Mason. Figured it'd be better for everybody if you and these fellas had it out face to face. I've talked with them, and they're both willing to swear that they had nothing to do with killing your folks.
Well, those two, they sell their mothers, and not only that, they deliver.
Well, you got no cause to say that. You don't know us. You never met us before. And if you got any proof, you show it. Put it right there in the barrelhead.
I don't need proof for them or you. That scar's good and sufficient for me. I saw it the night my folks was killed. It was like a fireball tearing through the sky, and I see it now, and I saw it then. And I'll tell you one thing. You're gonna pay back, mister. Now get him out of here, Daniel. I don't care what you told him. Just get him out.
Take it easy, Mason.
Daniel, I won't hear anymore. I'm going to my cabin, and I'm staying there till sun up. And then I'm coming out. And I got some advice for you. You stay out of my way, you hear?
You think you can reason with that madman? You ought to be put in chains.
You forced us here. If anything happens to us, it's on your head.
Nothing's gonna happen.
What do you want me to do with him, Boone?
Take him to Powder House.
Lock him up? And let them loose?
Well, they're only accused of murder. Mason's aiming to spill blood.
Come on, Mason.
All right, okay. Feeling good about this, Gabe?
I have felt better. Sorry, Mason.
Well, you'll get over it.
Dan, you try.
That's what they carve on tombstones. Becky, these gentlemen will be our guest.
Any more of your good ideas?
Be safe at our cabin.
Don't we know it? It'll be the only place we'll be safe. So you best get used to the idea, Boone. You got a couple of steady boarders. What's your name, boy?
Israel.
Oh, that's a real fancy name. I got me a notion that a name ought to go with a face. Yours fits you just fine. I'm considering that. What would you think Smith's name ought to be?
Cain.
Israel.
I know what you're thinking, Pa.
They were just trying to be friendly, son.
Like they were to Mason's ma and Pa.
Israel, I reckon you got your heart set on being a judge.
Judge?
It's a great calling. You seem to have a special knack for it. Looks to me like you think you can tell whether a man's good or bad just by reading his face.
Well, I can tell about them.
Can you? Well, maybe you would prefer not to spend the night under the same roof with him.
Suit me fine.
All right, son.
Israel!
Come on!
Daniel, what's Becky gonna say about this?
One good thing, whatever she says, it'll be in private.
I saw him. The two they call Hanker and Smith. And like you said, I could tell just by looking at him.
Does your pa know you're here?
I told him I wouldn't sleep under the same roof with them.
Your pa took him in?
If I was him, I'd throw him out like a pair of scurvy dogs.
Going back to your pa, Israel.
I just came to tell you that. Well, I'm I'm on your side. So's Pa. Sometimes I get the feeling that he's just too old to understand us younger men.
Israel!
Coming, Pa! Better go now. Want to make?
You can start undoing your bedding over there.
Israel, you got a spot over here by the fireplace, nice and warm for you.
Where you been?
See the prisoner.
You sound like you'd ask. You'd have been stopped. I don't want you to stop being Mason's friend's son. He's going to need all he can get.
What he needs is some justice.
And being cooped up is not your idea. Is that right?
Maybe you've got the wrong one in there.
It's possible. All kinds of mistakes a fellow can make. Some of them bigger than others.
Like killing a man?
Like killing the wrong man. And that's something. That's nice.
Well, gonna be all right there, Israel?
It's fine.
That's our motto. Bed and board guaranteed. All right, son. You lie down there, get a good night's sleep, and I'll be right over here if you need me. Good night, boy. What are you going? What do you want?
Go get your pa.
Come on, Pa.
Edward, you wait here for your mother. Let's go see what Mason has to say.
Yeah?
This commotion, Mason, what about it?
I don't know. It all happened so fast.
Israel said there were two men.
Well, there was this war whooping and screaming and hollering, and then two men, they come out of the tavern.
Did you recognize them?
It was too dark, and before I knew it, they were gone.
Israel, can you describe them, the two men that attacked Cincinnati?
Well, one was tall, real tall. He had a bushy beard and buckskin shirt and a hat.
What kind of hat?
Brown, green-like.
What about the other one? What did he look like?
Dan, don't force the boy if he can't remember.
Do you remember, Israel? What did he look like?
Well, I don't remember.
Try to. Did you ever see him before? Are you sure?
Dan.
It's important, Vicky. Israel, are you dead sure you never saw him before? Dead sure?
It was Gabe. He came in whooping his head off. And he and the other fella started hitting Cincinnatus. And they stomped around and yelled and ran out. Why did you do it, Gabe?
Israel, right here in front of everybody, I'm going to apologize.
Apologize?
I've taken advantage of you for purpose, for an important and very serious purpose. Let Mason out.
Right over here, Paul. Cincinnatus! He's gone! Where is he?
We'll get to that. Now, Rebecca and Amy say they doubt that Israel saw what he says he saw. Mason, do you believe him?
I believe him, Daniel.
Israel, you said the man that hit Cincinnatus was tall. How tall?
Well,
Tall as me?
yeah.
And you said he had a bushy beard, right? And he wore a buckskin shirt, a round hat. What color hat?
Green, I think.
Wasn't much light, was it?
No, but it was green. Maybe.
Well, let's just see for sure. William, come on down. William, did you bash Cincinnatus?
Yeah, in the manner of speaking.
Is this him?
Well, I don't know.
Well, he says he is.
And I guess he is.
Well, now, considering the light and the fact that you were waking up out of a sound sleep and all the excitement going on, Israel, you didn't do too bad. William's not what I'd say is tall, but he does have a little ragmop mustache, no bushy beard, and he is wearing a buckskin shirt, and I reckon you could call the hat green. Thank you, William. Now, this other fellow, one that you said was Gabe.
It looked like him.
Courtney, come on down.
Sorry, Gabe.
Oh, don't be sorry, Israel. You said what you thought was the truth, and that was no lie.
What about Cincinnatus?
Good as new.
Israel! Come here, boy. Yep, I'm better than new.
You get the point, Mason? A young boy, terrified, upset, the whole world gone topsy-turvy. The mind plays tricks, the eyes play tricks.
Daniel, I saw what I saw.
In the dark, with things happening so fast?
Look, I saw it. I didn't dream it. I saw that mark, and he was there, and it was there.
You're a liar.
Mason! Now, Mason, tell it to me again.
Daniel, you think I get joy out of telling that? Turns me inside out.
You're staking your whole life on this.
Please, Mason.
All right, for all the good it'll do.
All right, you were hiding in the potato bin, and the house was on fire. All right, let's say the house was over here at the fireplace. Where would the potato bin be?
Oh, over there.
Over here. Now, when the man with the scar mounted his horse, where would that be?
Somewhere in between.
And you could see that with the light of the fire. Now, when he mounted the horse, did he ride off to the left or the right?
The left.
The left. And when he mounted the horse, did he mount from the left side, the same way most folks would do, and he rode off to the left?
Mm-hmm.
Then that would mean that the only side of the man's face you could see would be this side. The left side.
Yeah.
The scar is on the right side.
Daniel, he could have turned the horse around and got on the other side. It was a long time ago, about 15 years. I can't remember every detail.
That's right, you can't, Mason. Nobody can. Time's blurred things up. You can't be sure of anything. But for what you're planning, you better be dead certain. No, Mason.
Oh, let him go.
Good night. You could have told me you were planning this.
If I had, you wouldn't let me do it.
You could have scared that boy out of 5 years' growth.
Oh, he'll be eating pie off my head by the time he's 16.
If he can still swallow without thinking about it.
Well, it was Mason I wanted Israel to think about. And himself.
All right, folks. It's after closing time. Let's...
Oh.
You know, I don't think I made too good of a judge.
Oh, the judging was all right. It was just the timing that was bad. You got to the verdict too quick.
You know, Pa, I've been thinking. Seeing isn't as simple as it looks.
Square things with Becky Boone?
Every time she looks at me, I get the idea that my eyebrows are singed.
I'll admit one thing. Until you proved that Mason was wrong about that scar, I was sure that Smith and Hanker were going to be condemned men.
And wicked looking, like Mr. Wilson said, and like Israel believed.
I'll allow that there are times the innocent sure look grimy.
Pa, look what Mason shot.
Hey, are you sure about that, Israel?
I saw him, and don't you try to tell me I didn't.
That's labor.
Well, take out the prize stick or some critter will get a free meal off our bait.
You didn't put no bait in it.
Just tend to your prize stick.
You know what I think sometimes, Bing? I sometimes think that the wild beasts of the forest is smarter than us human beings.
Yeah, well, you just scared off every beast within 2 miles if you call that being smart.
Something's coming.
Hand me my rifle.
Howdy.
Good thing for you, you ain't a bear, Mr. Boone.
Well, listen, Biggin, I doubt very seriously if my hide would have brought very much. You seen Cully and his bunch around?
They went their way and I went mine.
If you want them, I can trail them out for you.
No, I just thought I'd visit with them if they're still trapping in these parts. Say, you might have done better if you'd throwed in with them.
Well, you went your own way, see?
Well, Mr. Boone's a loner at trapping.
Well, good luck with what's left of the season.
Bye. Maybe we should have gone partners with Cully and all them.
They ever invite us to anything before, even when we had Mama?
We don't have no piece of land.
So why do you think they wanted us this time?
The more the merrier.
Uh-oh. So they could rob us blind and deep, and maybe even lame, that's what.
Well,
It wouldn't have made him stinking rich.
Well, you forgot about her early season cash.
You didn't speak of Mr. Boone of it.
A sharp eye and a closed mouth make good business. I read that in my copybook that year I went to the Dame school.
We got much of anything in that cash?
You'll see when I show you.
You mean before we reset the trap?
Nah, I'm up to here with telling you to take out the prize stake for a living. Now pick up them traps and let's go.
You don't remember where our trappings is hid?
Well, if you're so smart, you tell me, and I'll say if you're right.
Between Stony Bottom Creek and a lightning-blasted tree. Or was it the Blaze Tree?
Well, that just shows you how good you are at remembering.
What you doing, Bingy?
I'm showing you our cash. That's what I'm doing.
You'd love to see how Stony Bottom that creek is. But Bingy, I don't see that...
Uh-huh.
It was the lightning-blasted tree after all.
No more, no less, just like I said. Now open her up.
What?
Our cash. Open her up.
Oh, we sure done a good job of it while we was at it. Bingin', you was right. We would have.
Would have what?
Made Cully and them in cahoots stinking rich when they robbed us.
Huh?
I forgot how many of them we trapped for our luck turned bad.
Well, it's a good thing you got me to do the remembering.
Now we can buy us enough acres so's they got to invite us, but we don't have to go less than it suits us.
You toss out our early season take whilst I think up how to deal with it.
Yeah, you figure out how to make them sweat, Bingin'.
Be sweat and be clabber.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and his taught for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
There's not even one squirrel skin left in there.
It'll be a thin summer ahead if it weren't for these late season divvy-ups.
There's not enough of that to make it a fat one.
I hate to think of.
What Miss Gracie's gonna say?
I'd like to get my hands on them just for about 2 minutes.
Well, their tracks are still fresh. They hadn't taken the creek water when they left.
They came through it and they went through it. They're all hands at this business.
Those traps don't have the owner's names on them, do they?
Grand nothing.
Real professionals.
At least they left their traps for us.
Yeah, so rusty and ill-used it wouldn't pay to lug them home.
I don't know how they use them.
Well, they didn't have to. They had ours to work for them.
Boy, I dread thinking about going home.
Bingin',
Yeah?
you remember what rub used to taste like when we had some?
I'm feeding you right now.
Try not to miss. It ain't loaded.
I'm just checking it out. Here, hold this. Hold this. gone. You smell that?
Maybe we're dreaming.
Maybe we ain't. Come on. Take this.
Bring it.
What the blazes are you shooting at?
Well, we didn't hurt you.
Now
did
get
we?
out of here.
Hey, this is a free country.
Yes, so I've heard.
You don't take no stock in it?
Don't give him the satisfaction, S.
Yeah, I don't give you the satisfaction.
Just leave him to stew in his own juice.
Stew. Load me up, Bingen.
Red fox. Beaver.
It's just plain old winter trappings.
We got bail on bail of it.
Of, plain old winter trappings. Well, my name is Churchill James. I'd like to apologize for my bad temper.
Well, I guess you got the right to.
Yes, let me make it up to you. I'd like you to dine with me.
You mean eat?
Yes, I wish you would.
That's real neighborly.
Well, no more than he ought to be, but...
So this saloon keeper is the only fur buyer in your town, and he'll cheat you if he can.
Cincinnatus? Oh, he keeps a store, too, as well as a tavern, besides being the town's notary and licenser and such.
He's an in-cahooter just like all the rest of them.
Well, I'd take them off your hands myself before I'd let that happen.
You a fur buyer?
Honnête soit qui mal y pense.
Oh.
Meaning?
I am a gentleman. Now, wait here.
You know something, S? I think he's a fur buyer and ashamed to admit it.
Yes. Bluff and hearty is the ticket. Inspiring confidence.
I hope he don't diddle us.
We know what we want. I'll handle him.
Perfection. No, but enough of art for art's own sake. Feast your eyes, gentlemen.
What, paper money?
Not debased colonial currency worth whatever you can get for it, but fresh, new Bank of England £5 notes.
Is that what you're figuring on paying us off in?
100 silver shillings in each and every one.
That ain't like a fur buyer.
A gentleman. Therefore, an innocent in the marketplace. Now, I depend on you to tell me what they're worth, but I know you well enough to trust you. Now, just say when. Do you realize how much I'm offering you?
They ain't what we got use for.
No, they're perfect. You know what these are?
Sure, there's a church over in Winchester got a great big picture window made out of.
That's glass. These are precious jewels. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds.
Say, you got quite a hanker for our furs, ain't you?
Well, I don't want to see you cheated by a common saloon keeper.
Oh, like I mentioned, Cincinnati keeps a store, too.
The fact is, what we got use for is a whole mess of acres.
Land.
Folks back home look down on us.
No.
You see, everybody else has got cabins and homesteads, and it makes them high and mighty as so many aldermen.
My friends, now I understand. I understand and sympathize. Land you have use for, land you shall have.
Yeah, well, if you mean here, it's too far off. They never would even see it.
I mean just where you need it.
Enough acres so's we got to invite them, but they don't have to come unless it suits them.
Enough so that if you invite them, they won't dare not to come.
Mom always said you had more than sawdust for brains banging.
Yeah, Mama always knew, S. Mama knew.
Now, last will and testament, leasehold and fee simple, bill of sale slow, bill of sale gent. Now, aging's no problem. Yes, in the spring of 1770, after a winter of incredible hardship, Boone came upon a Kentucky river valley, so beautiful and rich that he must have said in his heart, "Here is a home for my people." This splendid country he described as lying in a land with grass growing knee-high in meadows.
Well, stretch as I will, that's the best I can do.
Well, we'll have to call on credit to pull through.
I do not approve.
I'd rather have cash just the same, Mrs. Grace.
If you'd only been more provident.
But, love, our catch was well hidden.
Oh,
Well, you don't really think we'd lay ourselves open to fur thieves now if we had a choice, do you?
I know what you men are like out there with the animals. I think the punishment was well deserved.
Well, you're the expert, Mrs. Grace, but I doubt if the good Lord is going to hire thieves and cutthroats his just will to perform.
I would prefer no blasphemy, please.
Howdy. Say, Mrs. Grace, you're looking mighty poorly. Now, don't you forget to say your prayers.
Oh,
Nah, I'd rather have a nice piece of black broadcloth. Say, how you fix for nice pieces of black broadcloth, Cincinnatus?
I'm fresh out of stock on credit.
Oh, credit.
You Hineses have a good season all by your lonesomes?
You'd have got stinking rich robbing us. We'd have gone with you.
more robberies?
Oh, no, ma'am. Bingham protected us.
Leave your pelts in the woods?
No, we traded off.
I heard a story once about a fellow who traded a horse for a cow for a sheep, sheep for a
No, we
goat.
traded off for land.
How much did you get?
We don't know yet.
Well, you do know where your land is, don't you?
Well, that's up to you to say.
To me.
Yeah, we got a deed.
Yeah, the man said he could tell from how it was written down just where our acres is.
You see that?
Now, don't you try and diddle us now.
No, sir. Don't you dare to try.
Well, we'll just take a look in the plat book. See here now, that's, page 4. Section 3, and 58 degrees north by 22 degrees east. Well, now, I must have made some mistake.
Well, where is it?
Who gave you this fool thing?
Mr. James.
Mr. James. Cully, come here and take a look at this. Now, he's got about as much right signing his name to a thing like that as Methuselah's tame crow. Look at there. It starts 58 north, 28 east. See there?
That's impossible. They're in cahooting again, us.
Yeah, you tell us where our acres is right now.
Well, according to this deed, you own every inch of Boonesboro.
What?
Boonesboro.
Did you hear that?
Why, that would make us their tenants.
Yeah, remember he said when we give the word, they wouldn't dare say no?
What villain would put his name to this?
The same villain, Mrs. Grace, assigned his name to yours and mine.
Signed Richard A. Henderson, first proprietor of Kentucky.
That sure looks like the judge's writing.
Well, it can't really be, can it?
Looks the same to you as it does to me. But Boone knew Henderson. Daniel will know if there's any chance of that thing being real.
He'd better know it isn't real.
Binging?
Oh, they can in cahoot together until their faces turn blue and purple. We got the papers.
That paper is signed a year before the deed that Daniel Boone gave us when he induced us to settle here. I'm going to be waiting for Mr. Boone when he comes home.
You won't be the only one.
I got a notion that them two is going to give us trouble.
Daniel's going to be able to clear this thing up. Just like to know how he's going to do it.
Well, he might need to see a friendly face.
Exactly when do you expect him?
She already told you she doesn't know.
You are a little boy.
Israel,
Yes, ma'am.
I have no way of knowing Mrs. Grace.
Well, love, when a man's out working his trap line...
You crawled home fast enough with your nothing.
Don't make no difference to us when, if ever, he gets back. You folks' rent's already started anyway.
Running on and on like a brook.
Put your hands up. Over your head. Hello!
Pa's home!
Completely unashamed.
What's going on? Neighbors?
I hope we can still call you the same.
That is purest nonsense.
My wife doesn't mean it like it sounds.
Oh, do I not?
Well, I don't exactly go along with it, but there's some explaining in order.
Well, go ahead and explain it then.
That ain't what we mean.
Show Dan the paper.
Sure, I got it right here. Just note the name on it.
Well, Judge Henderson. I'm glad to see you boys getting hold of some land.
Well, that's neighborly.
Every acre in Boonesboro?
Daniel, me and Cully checked the plat book.
Well, where did this come from?
You dragged us into this.
Ladies, if the paper's genuine, Dan's in the same boat you are.
That has yet to be proven. I believe he watched out for his own interests.
Well, I intend to do that, Mrs. Grace. Yes, Bingham, would you mind stepping in the cabin with me?
Is that an invite, Bacon?
Why, we'd be glad to accept the invite, Mr. Boone.
Daniel will straighten things out.
I expect to make sure he does.
Mrs. Grace, you wasn't invited.
Huh! Come on, ladies.
We'd like to oblige you, Mr. Boone, but we ain't about to give up our land.
You got nothing to worry about, Mr. Boone.
Oh, no, sirree, Bob. Anytime you're short for the rent, you just let us know. We ain't gonna be hard on you.
You ain't hardly in cahoots enough to count.
Come on, S.
No luck.
Convince them that all of a sudden their good fortune is really a forgery?
You were convinced the judge's signature was real at first.
Well, it would almost have convinced him if he'd been able to see it. The trouble is, he was long dead when it was made. That deed is on fresh paper, freshly aged.
How can you tell?
Oh, the last faint whiff of vinegar and smoke. The odor doesn't last very long.
We can still prove it's a fraud in court, can't we?
Yeah, likely about the time for Israel's children to regain title to the land and cabin if the lawyers haven't taken it by that time. That Churchill James is truly a pick-a-rear.
What's to be done?
I'll get James or whatever his name is back here if we can to get him to clear up the confusion he's caused. Rebecca, may I have the use of your grandmother's jewel?
Ma's heirloom?
Well, I'll try to get it back, son, along with Mrs. Grace's title to the cabin and land. Churchill James traveled in a great big red-painted caravan.
Mr. Franklin, you must mean.
Franklin?
Yeah, first cousin of Dr. Benjamin, once removed. He said that was his cousin's latest invention. Said lightning couldn't pass through it no more than a bull through a stone wall.
That sounds like the man I'm after.
Fellow named Abernathy.
Abernathy, eh?
Around here a couple of days ago. Gone like a whirlwind. Paid me off with these. Wish I'd have thought of that while he was here. But I was too hasty to pocket the money. I had him hornswoggled so good on price, I was afraid he'd back down if I gave him a chance.
I'll give you a good crown for one of those.
I'd sell you the whole lot for 2.
No, I think one will be enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
You looking for something?
The latch string is usually out in these parts.
There's no latch string on my door.
Ah, a road agent in Mario England.
I was wounded in my country's wars. I suppose I deserve that. Do you mind if I have a look?
Pearls are seed. The carats are plenty.
I'll give you £60 for it.
Oh, that's a fair enough price, but I like for my money not to smear, although I do admire your workmanship.
Newgate Prison. But for coin clipping, not road agenting. And I should have known you were one of the Brotherhood. Just made a gig in furs. I'm flush in the fob cover. £40 in real money.
I know where there's a nice little box of them if you're pick-a-rear enough to work with.
You don't realize whom you're addressing, gentle sir. I am Crook-fingered Wat Paddington.
Crook-fingered Wat Paddington?
It's my prerogative to ask for bona fides.
Are you familiar with the name of Joe Snag?
You're a long way from your river, Joe.
Redcoats and cannon, house and armory despoiled, men scattered to the wind.
The hazards of our profession, Joe.
Up one day and down the next.
The gallows for poor Watt, if I hadn't found ship for the colonies. The rascally captain extracted my last farthing.
But you've made up for it, more than made up for it.
I admit to talent, but colonial competition isn't terrifying. A present company accepted. But where are the rest of those jewels?
What do you know about Daniel Boone?
Well, he's supposed to be an honest man.
Did you ever know an honest man that didn't look out for his own interest?
I suppose every time he leads a group of innocents into the wilderness, the land company gives him a rake-off, eh? But why do you need help?
The loot is dead without a bill of sale. Paperwork is out of pirate's line. That's why I've been trailing you. Now, how are you at signatures? Daniel Boone is too well known for hit and miss and trust to luck.
I'll step into my little web. I was impressed into the Navy as a tyke. Could I have lived as an admiral, I should be there still.
You didn't learn your paperwork there?
From my maternal uncle, rest his soul, one of the great penmen of his time. Although, I sometimes flatter myself that I have refined on his lessons.
Last will and testament, bill of sale, deed of title.
Every legal document known to the law on its far side, and some that I created for special occasions.
Daniel Boone's conquest of the dark and bloody ground, Kentucky.
Yes. And here, my own collection of useful autographs. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, Alexander Hamilton. Joe, you don't know the labor and devotion that went into this.
I wouldn't know how to begin.
And for each engagement, the right ink. Now, I fancy that Mr. Bourne, crude son of the frontier, would depend on steeped oak galls. I'm a slave to order and technique. Joe, observe and learn.
How many of them diddlers we miss?
Oh, Mr. Pitts?
Mr. Pitts.
We'll be out to see you later on.
We'll be out to see you later on about our property. Them two our tenants?
That's the King's Marshal.
Sure a pretty coat he's got on.
I'd rather have it in black broadcloth.
Well, we can have one or two of each.
We're the landlords.
Mrs. Boone, I am surprised to see you here.
This is our home, Sir Ives.
I well remember how really cleverly you conspired with your husband to trick me into giving the king's reward to the notorious Joe Snag for what should have been his own capture. Barely. At last, I have a warrant for Mr. Boone's arrest.
He's made good his escape.
Oh? Then I deduce that you must be Grace Cowles.
Mrs. Grace.
You summoned the King's Marshal.
Against my paw?
Yes, I did.
Well, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
He's the only one worth shooting around here.
Mark my words, you'll find you are nothing but his poor tools when all this comes to light. He'll be the true profiter.
Now, Mrs. Grace, this time I cry shame on you.
Oh, you do. No one is as blind as those who turn their eyes from what is before them. Daniel Boone and Judge Henderson were working together when they induced us to settle here. Don't you believe he knew his co-conspirator had already sold this land that we put our lives into, thinking it was truly ours? Can't you believe that he was trying to protect his own interests? even after he sneaked away in the middle of the night, after I charged him to his face.
Out of the goodness of my heart and the fact that this is my livelihood, I ain't refusing you service in here anymore again. But I'd be much obliged if you just stay out until I get a chance for my nausea to cure.
Mr. Marshal, I call upon you to impanel a posse and pursue the fugitive.
I am grateful for advice. But I have an expert knowledge of the illicit mind. Their weaknesses betray them. And Boone's weakness is he's uxorious. He'll come back for his wife and son. And when he does, the manacles will close on him.
Heaven is just. I am satisfied.
It is.
Come, ladies.
Problems, Joe?
Oh, just thinking.
Let me try to read your mind.
Well, I hope it isn't that easy.
You're worried about making our first appearance smooth and trouble-free. How far up am I?
Well, you're right on target.
Well, you're a pirate, a man of direct action. The devious, shrewd, and clever are my forte. You don't mind a suggestion?
After that?
Well, men traveling together often arouse suspicion. They look like conspirators, even if they aren't.
Which we are.
Therefore, you go on ahead, pave the way. Strike up an acquaintanceship with Boone, which you can do more easily than I, with no offense to your tailor.
Well, my tailor isn't too easily offended.
Case the lay, find out where he hides the box. I'll do the figuring as well as the paperwork. Now, while we're in Boonesboro, we pretend not to know each other so that when we leave, they won't know which one of us to take out after.
What, you're not going to believe this, but with the exception of a couple of refinements, which I couldn't think of to my dying day, that's just about what I was going to suggest to you.
Whoa! Whoa! I'll camp around here for the night.
Well, I'll see you at the scene of the crime.
Boonesboro will never forget us. That man will be a master when I've finished teaching him.
You sweating how to get here alone to lay your plans, and he plays right into your hands.
It's almost too easy for comfort.
Well, there's not too much left to go wrong now.
I suppose not. But when he gets here, even the Hineses will realize their deeds of fraud. I feel kind of sorry for them.
You haven't seen him, landlord.
The whole town can't sleep nights for their watching. What is he plotting? I can't hear a word they're whispering. He'll learn to keep secrets from his sovereign creditor.
Looky there. They're locking up Mr. Boone. Oh, I wish I hadn't been awake to look on it. Thinking that's Mr. James.
Hi.
Come on, hiding, Bingy.
But didn't you see how he was dressed?
In a red coat.
Official. You want him to take our land back?
Bingy, he's the one who gave us the paper in the first place.
Oh, well, suppose he found out something afterwards.
What kind of something? That it was a blaze tree after all, and not a lightning blast tree like I said it was.
Run!
that way.
Hello. Hello there. I'm Sir Ives Wallace, the King's Marshal. Major...
Alec McTavish of the Tavish. His Majesty's 5th Grenadiers.
The Scottish aristocracy are a noble race of warriors.
I was wounded at the Battle of Minden, 1759.
Frenchman's a barbarian. But by Jove, you defeated him.
Well, I was not there alone.
Spoken like a British officer and gentleman. Will you honor my table?
But, sir, the honor will be mine.
This primitive tavern quarters me.
In His Majesty's service, we do not expect comfort.
True, Major, but my wines are my solace. Equity. Find a pleasant spot for Major McTavish's equipage and care for his horses.
Well, you figured you was losing your partner in crime when he saw you in here.
We can thank the King's Marshal for holding him.
Nevertheless, everything we've planned's been knocked into a cocktail.
Well, us pirates is used to the wind shifting. Now, see if you don't think this will work.
I don't know why we need this stuff anyway. How would we look in history housebreaking an ordinary Dutch? Come on. Your door, Chief.
Fear not. If a British officer can fear. This is rare and must not be caught. This port, Major McTavish, have traveled across His Majesty's ocean not merely once, but twice, Major.
Twice?
Taste.
Aye. It's grand.
His Majesty. Ocean.
Aye. His Majesty.
I think that I should benefit from outside air.
Well, it's time for me to be leaving in any case. It's been an enjoyable evening, Sir Ives.
No, Major. I shall see you to your domicile and recover my sobriety as I shall do. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's been a grand evening, but we can say good night now, sir.
Oh, no. I'll see you to your place. What's your footing here? The wilderness. Major, your company has been most... Major, you have been despoiled.
Well, Sir Ives, there's no need for... Sir Ives! Well, if the fat's going to burn, it's already in the fire.
You've been robbed. Everything.
Oh, yes, so I see, Sir Ives.
You take it like a British officer. Major, I promise to bring the miscreants to justice and to return your possessions.
Well, Sir Ives, I could afford the loss.
No man can afford the loss of dignity.
What?
What happened? Foul robbery.
Why, that's downright dishonest.
I wish that I had brought my Indian scout along to trail the villains. I gave him a red silk coat in excellent condition. He loves me like a father.
Cully's a good man on the trail.
Cully, I shall reward you with your king's gratitude. These colonials have noses like wild beasts.
Your property, Major?
They knew that I would be on their trail and abandon their ill-gotten loot. These are your possessions, for the record. Oh, Major, you are modest. You won honors in His Majesty's Navy, as well as his army. And a gentleman tachygrapher as well. You are indeed a man of parts.
Oh, look at these.
Oh, splendid. Oh, Major. You have been the victim of criminals before tonight. These notes are counterfeit. Not all of them, most happily. You're not entirely bereft.
You tell him, Bangy.
We come to confess.
To the robbery?
Robbery? You're daft.
That ain't his fault, Bangy.
No, it was a blazed tree after all.
I said it was, didn't I?
Do you know what this is about?
Well, not yet, but I am getting a glimmering.
Mr. James, this gonna be bad as bad for you.
Oh, you're mistaken. I'm Major McTavish.
Oh, no, you ain't. You're Mr. Churchill James.
I'm afraid you are mistaken, my man. Churchill James was a favorite alias of Crook-fingered Watt Paddington. The counterfeiter and forger. I had a warning from London.
He gave us a deed to Boonesborough for them furs that we thought was ours.
In place of these.
You see, what happened was...
Hope you didn't break anything.
They might have ruined them.
Robert, it hurts to be done in by an honest man.
Console yourself, Crookfinger. Mr. Boone's constant friendship with the criminal convinces me that you are what I'm convinced you are. And soon or late, I shall prove it about him.
But at least he won't hang you.
Neither one of us.
And yet you colonists pretend to favor law and order.
Amen.
Mrs. Boone, I believe I shall see you and your little family again.
And you'll be as welcome as ever.
Au revoir, young man. Forward.
Wow, we got our homestead back and he's gone!
We got a celebration!
A day of thanks and sober praise for our deliverance, Mrs. Hopper.
Hey, where are you Heinzes going? Well, it's gonna be a celebration.
Well, come on to it. You mean we're invited too?
Bing, we got us invited.
Without you, there's nothing to celebrate.
Providence, Mr. Boone.
Grace, I asked you and Providence to keep still just for this once.
Carl Coles!
And besides that, Cincinnatus charged me with a keg of rum and a new dipper for all these people to enjoy themselves.
Yeah! Carl Coles is a free man. Come on over the tavern, everybody.
Sure was nice when we owned all this property.
The nicest thing our whole lives.
S and Ben, come on.
Yes, it is indeed a lovely day. Excuse me.
That's Prince Louis.
Good morning, Prince Louis. Good morning. What can I do for Your Excellency today?
Well, I have come to pick up a suit of buckskins that I ordered to be delivered.
Forgive me, Your Highness. I would have delivered them myself within the hour. To think you have been put to the trouble of coming here.
It is no trouble, I assure you. I merely want to see the suit before it leaves your shop.
Oh, by all means, by all means. You like it, Your Majesty?
No, I do not like it. I ordered a simple, ordinary suit of buckskins to wear at a hunt, not a costume for the opera comique.
But surely, sire, you were jesting. What will the people of Kentucky think?
I don't care what the people of Kentucky think. I want a suit of buckskins by tomorrow evening. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Highness. I'll have them, Your Highness. Can't tell you how mortified I am.
Pardon, excusez-moi.
I know who you are. Don't be giving me that stuff about royal blood. I got blood too, see?
Excusez-moi.
In this heaven-blessed country, anybody's just as good as somebody else, and nobody's as good as everybody else.
Your Highness, what's the trouble?
The trouble, Bernard, is that no one will let me be what I am. An ordinary man.
Not quite ordinary. You do bear the Bourbon name, and for over 200 years, the Bourbon has sat upon the throne of France.
Yes, but no Bourbon sits there now. The revolution has seen to that.
Yes, but if the monarchy is ever restored, you shall be king. Come, sit down. Have a glass of wine. I have prepared for you potage à la Condé and gigot à la Miaillie.
Bernard, as always, I'm sure it is delicious, but I don't think I can eat right now.
One taste of the soup and you will be all appetite. And I was wondering, sire, Kentucky being such a primitive place, if I shouldn't take along my rack of spices and seasoning.
Bernard, I may cancel my trip to Kentucky.
But no. You have looked forward so long to a trip to the American wilderness, to hunt, to fish, to roam as you please.
Exactement. To roam as I please. Mais c'est impossible. How can I roam as I please when always it is, may I carry your gun, Your Highness? What is your wish for dinner, votre noblesse? Don't trip over the log. I tell you, I can't stand it any longer.
May I remind you, Your Highness, that the reason you have received such a generous reception in America is because the people are grateful for the part your country and your family played in gaining them their independence. It is gratitude, not homage, that they offer you, and it ill becomes you to reject it.
Yes, I know you are right. You know, Bernard, it is funny, but you seem to know the role that I should play better than I know it myself. And you could play it? Mais oui. You could play it?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
I will explain. No one in Kentucky has ever seen either you or me. My clothes, they fit you exactly. Nobody knows the history of my family better than you, so... Alors, Prince Louis Philippe, you shall go to Boonesboro, and I shall go on my hunting trip if that buffoon ever finishes my buckskins and roam as I please.
I, Bernard, impersonate a Bourbon?
Yes.
My father and my grandfather and my great-grandfathers would swarm from their grave and carry me off to perdition for such a sacrilege.
No, nonsense, Bernard. You don't understand. It's only for a couple of weeks. Then, when I have had my hunting trip, you can be yourself again.
But, sire, noblesse oblige. Nobility imposes obligations upon him who holds the title, and the title is yours.
And while you are in Boonesboro, Bernard, you shall have it.
I would only disgrace it.
Bernard, as a friend, I ask you to do it for me.
I cannot.
Very well. As your prince and your sovereign, I command you. Do it.
Yes, a big man. With an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
What's the trouble?
She's trying to measure me for some white satin breeches.
Yes, sir, you come back here before all the material's gone.
It's on account of the principal. What's he gonna care if I have white satin breeches?
I'm the one who cares. Now, you come right along.
Ezra, every once in a while, you gotta please somebody else, and as long as it's your ma you're pleasing, I think you ought to go in there and get measured.
I'm gonna be the laughing stock.
Mrs. Pepper did that to me. I saw it first.
You did not see it first. You just got to it first.
All right, so it's mine.
It is not yours.
It is mine.
It was mine. I was reaching for it, and then you bumped into me. What got me in?
Ladies, please, will you put this down?
I don't want a brocade dress anyway.
You think I want you to meet the Prince and Missy Woolsey?
Susan, catch.
Oh, Miss Pepper, freak.
Your daughter doesn't want it. Mine does.
You're behaving like an absolute child.
Get me out of here, will you?
It is mine.
Israel, if you don't hold still. My goodness, you're such a little wiggle worm.
Don't like turning on clothes.
Well, it's not gonna kill you.
Got an empty teepee at the village if you need it.
Is that no way to
And there, now that wasn't too bad, was it, young man? I guess you can run along.
I'm an Antley. Satin breeches.
Well, what are you fixing up for yourself, Rebecca?
Oh, I've got some nice material at home I've been saving for a very special occasion. But, you know...
It takes a lot of satin to make breeches for him.
Oh, no.
Well, I wasn't really thinking of breeches anyway. I was more thinking of a tunic and shirt.
You've got all of my measurements. Why don't you just fix me something simple and work a day? Besides, we came by to tell you I've got to leave.
Leave? With the prince coming?
I will try to get back before the prince gets here, but we've got a string of trap lines, and you can't leave trap lines unattended.
Daniel Boone, somehow I don't quite believe you.
Oh, yes, he has trap lines out. There might be some poor old animal caught in a trap right now.
Yeah, that's what we came by to tell you, and the sooner we leave, the sooner we'll get back.
Get me out of here, will you?
Lady,
Don't you think if you just measured it, there might be enough for both of you?
but we don't want dresses just alike.
Mother,
Papa will be fine. Look, there's plenty of them.
No, ladies.
No.
I'm going out of business before I go out of my mind.
Good evening, Israel.
Hi, Edgar.
You out here for the purpose of meditation?
There's women in there. Keep taking their clothes on and off. Mom made me come out here.
Well, that's proper for a lad your age, but I trust a gentleman of maturity can enter.
What would you want in for?
I came to escort Susan home, if I can pry her from her mother's clutches.
Imagine that, Cincinnatus. Charging me 75 cents a yard for this material when I know for a fact it's been on the shelf for months and him willing to give it away for anything at all.
Serves you right. Serves you right. For insisting on it when I saw it first.
I didn't want it, Mother.
Stand up, Virginia.
I think you did, Virginia. And I think it was wonderful of you to give it up for me.
Oh, just a moment.
Aha, may I come in?
A little while, Edgar. Edgar Coventry.
Mother?
Here, put this on.
All right, Edgar, come on.
Ah, and how are the royal seamstresses doing? Ooh, superb, Mrs. Boone.
How I envy your son.
You should tell him that. Maybe he'd be more willing to wear it.
Oh, I shall. I shall. Ha 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 ha. Simplicity. But you have the skirt too long, Mrs. Brewster.
What do you mean, too long? It's right at the instep where it belongs.
Well, that's well enough for an ordinary occasion, but you must realize that the prince is accustomed to something a little more daring. I'd suggest that you shorten it. Just enough to reveal a hint of ankle.
Mother, you'll do no such thing. Certainly not. There's a limit to the exposure of a girl's nether limbs.
Do you like it?
Turn around. Very modest and becoming, but, isn't the bodice too loose?
Too loose? If it were any tighter, I couldn't breathe.
That could be the fault of your corset.
Edgar Coventry, I'd rather you didn't speak of such things in my daughter's presence. Not till you're properly married.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Pepper. I merely want Susan to look her best. Prince Louis Philippe may be a king one day, and kings have courts and ladies in waiting. He may recall the beautiful girl he met in Kentucky.
And you'd let her go to France?
Well, I'd go with her, of course. A woman who has favor with a king is in a position to win many rewards for her husband.
Oh, Edgar.
Well, it's true, Susan. Our whole future could be decided at the forthcoming ball.
Ball? Hoedown, you mean?
Oh, no, not at all, Mrs. Boone. The character of a party is determined by the personages present. We will be entertaining a prince, and I may have mentioned at one time or other that my grandfather was a baronet.
Yes, Edgar, I believe you have mentioned it at one time or another.
Yes, unfortunately, my father was a third son and due solely to the laws of primogeniture could not inherit the title, so we migrated to America. Nonetheless, my ancestry should provide the prince with the proper reassurance that he's not alone on the wild frontier.
Come as far as we can come without me taking half of tomorrow to rest up.
I'm looking at my dinner, Boone. Where's yours?
Well, I want to let you have a little of this grouse that I shot. Then I'd rest, and I built a fire to cook it on. And again, I might not.
I'll sell for half.
Your Highness? Your Highness? Your Highness?
Monsieur, your gun. It is pointing at me.
Yep.
It might go off.
You're right again, so just do like I say and step out. Come on. Come on. Come on.
I do not understand. You have to take me to Boonesboro.
We don't take kindly to royalty around here. We just got through fighting a war to get rid of a king. So there ain't no sense in being nice to a prince. Now march off yonder to them woods.
But why? What are your intentions?
Why, I kind of think that's plain enough. That team and this coach, trunk full of fancy goods, and maybe a handsome sum of money. I kind of like that coat you're wearing, too, so just take it off.
You are brigands!
You're not in any position to be calling people names. Let's have the coat. Come on.
But if you leave me here, I'm lost. I will starve. The savages might kill me.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're hoping people around here will think. And this looks like it'll fit you. And, let me see that. Oh, yeah. That makes me hungry, huh?
But why? You have what you want. Why murder me?
Well, we ain't never killed a prince before. Get over here.
Would it make any difference if I were not a prince?
Nope. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a chance. Just because I don't like to shoot setting birds. Now go ahead, take a run for it. Go on, run for it.
The Bourbon does not run.
Well, whatever suits you.
Hold it.
Well, we got him, boss. What are we gonna do with him?
Well, I reckon we'll just have to turn him over to the law.
You're not going to let them get away?
Oh, they won't go far afoot.
I'll have some of my Tuscarora Braves round them up in the morning. Tuscarora Braves? Then you must be an American Red Indian. The first I've met. Some of us are redder than others.
And from what I overheard the last few minutes, you must be Prince Louis Philippe, the man we're expecting in Boonesboro.
I wish I were in a position to deny that.
Well, I'm Donald Boone. This is Gabe Cooper. Why don't we take your coach on over to my camp and get a little sleep, and we'll have you in Boonesboro by noon tomorrow.
Here's your coat, Prince.
Come in, Prince.
Mrs. Boone, down there, please.
Here comes the prince. Here comes the prince in his white breeches. See how he glints.
Rio, you're going to track dust all over it.
Well, Becky, here's number one.
What's this?
Well, that's protocol. Whenever we have visiting royalty, it just has to be done. That's all. Now, here's Mrs. Brewster and Mrs. Pepper.
Don't I get one?
Well, you're included in your mother's protocol, the same as Susan is and Mrs. Pepper, and Virginia is with Mrs. Brewster.
Yeah, but what does it mean?
Well, each slip of paper has a number on it, and that's how we line up to be presented to the prince. And I think as long as Daniel is the founder of this here settlement, well, we ought to give the Boones number one, and me. I'm the next man of importance around here, so I should give myself number two, and so on in order of personal importance.
Gave me a number 13.
He gave me number 24. What makes you think there are 23 people around here of more consequence than me and my Virginia? And putting me behind the Peppers, she's never had a day's schooling in her whole life.
I got my schooling on my mother's knee, and that's a sight more than anything you got.
Just don't you start up with
Now,
me.
Mother,
You hear that? Just
Mother,
don't start up with
Mother,
me.
who cares?
I care.
Ladies,
I care.
Well, now, ladies, please.
A thing like this can change your whole life.
Ladies, please. This is protocol. It's got to be done. Oh, Edgar, here's yours.
Who gave you the right to protocol us?
You'll not insult my Susan with a number 13.
$120? Cincinnatus, despite your age, I'm of a mind to chastise you. I shall not submit to such degradation. Well, not Edgar. It's ladies and old folks first, remember. But Susan will be with me, and not her mother. Furthermore, as I may have told you once, my grandfather was a baron.
Yeah, well, he must have been posthumously promoted because the last time I heard he was only a baronet.
I'm saying, as a person of noble ancestry, my place is at the prince's side.
Right, he's the only one here with any
All of you quiet. Just calm down. Cincinnatus is quite right when he says we do have to have a system of order.
Mm-hmm.
However, no one has the right to say who comes first.
Now, Becky.
We'll, take this hat and we'll drop all our numbers in it.
It's a better idea, Vicky.
Yes.
Shake
fair.
it and
That's
draw.
fair.
It's only fair way.
All
the
right.
numbers.
All right, Becky. Now then, may I have your numbers, please? Here we go.
I don't know who put him in charge.
He's getting insufferable.
Here we are.
He's getting absolutely
All righty.
insufferable.
There they are, Becky.
Yours, too.
Well, that ain't true protocol, Becky.
Cincinnatus, you drop that number 2 in this hat,
Come on
and you
now.
do it right
Put it
now.
on.
Now, Becky,
Let's hurry up.
please, Becky. Oh, well, doesn't make any difference anyway because I'm going to be standing right alongside of the prince to introduce him to all of you.
How come you went riding off to the frontier with two fellows you didn't even know?
Oh, they were hired at the last minute. It was necessary to use someone who didn't know the prince.
Didn't know the prince?
Know me, that is. I'm sorry if I sometimes speak of myself in the third person, fault of my education. Caesar always wrote of himself in the third person. Not that I compare myself to Caesar.
But the way those two fellows were talking, they knew you were the prince, all right.
Yes, sir, of course. They were definitely of the opinion that their passenger was Prince Louis Philippe.
Well, how'd they find out?
Why, that's what they were told.
But you said they weren't supposed to know you.
Oh, I did? Yes, it is very confusing. Reasons of state.
Well, it almost cost you your life. You know, I really admired the way you stood your ground when that fella told you to run for it.
There's nothing to admire. I am duty-bound to uphold the honor of the Bourbon name. Although I assure you, I would rather have come here in the guise of a plain citizen.
It's too late for that. Everyone's expecting you.
I only hope they've not gone to a lot of trouble.
Well, when I left, all the women were getting rigged up in the new dresses, and I never met a woman yet that considered that a hardship.
I hope you don't mind if I ride up here with you.
No, suit yourself, Prince. Get up.
All right. Quiet. Quiet now, everyone. We're going to have a rehearsal. Now then, who's got number one?
I've got it.
All right, come right on down here. And all the rest of you, line up and back of her according to the number you have. Come along. Be careful. Don't step on the... Oh, dear.
Mother, I feel so conspicuous being first. Couldn't we trade places with someone else?
Well, certainly not.
Mother, you know, all you've done this week is embarrass me. I'll help you with the flowers and the food, but I won't stand for any more of the silly protocol. I'm going home. You could just meet the prince without me.
Virginia. Now, just a minute. I will rehearse.
All right. I'm going to give you your order. You will come down to the steps, come up the right side, and be presented to His Highness, and then you will turn around and go down the left side and on out the red carpet. Now, all right. Mrs. Brewster, come ahead. I'm going to present myself as Cincinnatus and also His Highness. Mrs. Hyacinth Brewster, Your Highness.
Pleased to meet you, Your Honor.
No, not Your Honor. That's for a judge. Now, you're supposed to kiss my hand and then curtsy.
Huh. I'm not going to soil my lips on your dirty old paw.
Coach is coming. The coach is coming, everybody. The coach is coming.
Oh, no, everybody, back in your places. Hurry up, take your places. Music. Back to music. The music. Come on, please. You play. Get back here where you were. What happened to the protocol? Oh, no. Make way. Out of the way. Get aside. That's why I get through. Oh. Daniel, figure this is going to be the prince's coach.
This is the prince's coach. We met up in the woods, and I drove it in.
Well, ain't you going to open the door for him?
Open the door?
I'll do it myself. Move out of the way. Welcome to Boonesboro, Your Highness. Your Highness?
Cincinnatus. Cincinnatus. This is Prince Louis Philippe.
Forgive us, Your Majesty, but how are we to know that? We are ready for you, Your Highness. Ready for you to walk down the royal pathway. Everybody, move!
Cincinnatus.
Move out of the way!
Cincinnatus! Hold on just a minute. Cincinnatus, the prince has had a long, hard journey, and he needs time to rest up before you start anything like this.
Oh, rest. Yes, of course. We certainly don't mind waiting. We'll just stand here and wait.
Thank you, Monsieur Boone, but it would be rude of me to make them wait after all these preparations. There is only one thing. The music.
Well, ain't it being played right?
Oh, he plays it beautifully.
Well, it's the Marseillaise, your country's national anthem, sir.
Yes, the song of the triumphant Republicans who cut off the head of my father and the head of my cousin, King Louis XVI, and of his beautiful wife, Marie Antoinette. and the heads of my uncles and nephews, and who would cut off the head of Louis Philippe as well if they could get their hands on him.
Mrs. Rufus C. Hoops, Your Majesty.
Enchanté.
Miss Gertrude Hastings, Your Exaltation.
Charmant.
Mr. Richard Hibbs, Your Sublimity.
How do you do?
Mr. Mrs. Sylvia Pepper, Your Highness. Miss Susan Pepper and Mr. Edgar Coventry, Your Pomposity.
Delighted, Prince Louis, delighted.
How do you do?
How do you do? You must forgive Cincinnatus for failing to introduce us properly. He is, I fear, somewhat provincial.
Will you hold your tongue, young man?
Oh, please don't let us engage in any altercation in the presence of royalty. We seem to be the last in line, a ridiculous situation, and not to be construed in terms of protocol. Oh, you must be weary. Please sit down. Susan, take the chair on Prince Louis' right there, and I shall sit right here on his left.
Get off my coat! I'll go see to your room, Your Highness.
Since Cincinnatus didn't mention it, well, I'm forced to tell you myself. My grandfather was a duke.
A duke?
That was after he was a baron.
English, not French. The Duke of Coventry, as my name implies. His forebears came from French Normandy with William the Conqueror, and were no doubt well acquainted with many of your own illustrious ancestors.
Yes, I'm sure that our ancestors were of a similar station.
Oh, you see, Susan? Those of noble blood recognize each other at once. It's as though we wear our titles on our brows. Oh. I trust you won't think me immodest for making my background known to you.
Oh, no.
You are a stranger here, and you may want advice concerning which people to cultivate and whom to avoid. For example, much as I regret relinquishing the pleasure, it might be fitting if you opened our ball by selecting Susan as a partner.
Oh, well, Edgar, that depends entirely upon the prince. However, if you should ask, I would accept.
Yes. You will excuse me for a moment, please. I really must freshen up. Oh, excusez-moi. Je vous en prie.
Oh, forgive me.
The
ice cream, I'm sorry.
It was entirely our fault.
I just wasn't looking where I was going.
No, we.
We?
Oh, allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, I know who you are, Your Highness.
It seems I've met everyone in Boonesboro except you.
Well, I'm Virginia Brewster, Your Highness.
You know, you're the first girl in Boonesboro who didn't try to curtsy.
Well, I guess I didn't want to look badly doing it foolishly.
I would much rather hold your hand. You are, how do you say, shy like me.
You mean like us?
Oui. I'm only the pretender to the throne. Do you speak French?
No.
Then I can tell you the truth. Je suis un imposteur. Oui, je m'appelle Bernard, domestique de Prince Louis-Philippe.
Oh, well, I think I better be going.
Oh, let me carry it for you.
No, really, I can do
please,
it.
I insist.
No,
Mademoiselle, you... Bonjour, Monsieur Boone.
What does that mean?
Oh, it means good day.
I figure it's a bum day.
Why is that?
Got nothing to do except sit around and keep my trousers clean. Can't play. All I can do is girls' work.
Why don't you change your trousers?
Mom wants me to wear them. They're in your honor, sir.
Oh, like me, you make yourself miserable because of a higher authority. But sometimes that is necessary.
You get bossed around too?
Would Your Highness care to join me in a drink?
Well, perhaps we can join everyone for a drink.
Oh, well, whatever Your Highness wishes.
Yes.
May I accompany you?
I don't.
Make way for His Highness. Come, move.
No.
Oh, please, right this way.
We can't have you standing, Your Highness.
No, wait. I have a special table for you.
I see.
Right over here.
Right. Out of the way. That's fine. Make room for His Highness.
You are, sir.
Well, I have special wine I've been saving for you. I hope it measures up to what you're used to.
What are the others drinking?
Oh, just my regular Blue Thunder. Not fitting for a king.
You mentioned something earlier about a room.
Oh, yes, right upstairs.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like very, very much to retire.
Retire? Oh, well, yes, of course. We have everything all moved in there, all ready for you.
Thank you very
right
much.
up the stairs. I'll
Yes.
show you where
Oh, sorry.
it is.
Yes, thank you.
Right up the stairs.
Thank you very much.
Rest well, Your Highness. I just can't understand it. You reckon I did something to hurt his feelings?
I'm sure that wine that you selected for him is the wrong vintage. And you'd better take care of what you feed him. He is accustomed to French cooking.
What are you doing here? I never baked a cake in my life.
You have been putting him through quite an ordeal, Cincinnatus.
Yeah. We got to know him on the road, and he's not one to put on airs.
I was only trying to show him our appreciation for his coming to Boonesboro.
I think you'll let the man be himself.
Oh, Your Highness, something was wrong with the bed?
It occurred to me that I should oversee the preparation of the prince's banquet.
The prince's banquet? What does he mean by the prince's banquet?
He often speaks of himself like he was someone else.
That's quite proper. Sometimes we even refer to ourselves in the plural.
We do?
I could not resist the aroma of your cooking. Ah, what kind of a fowl is this, Mrs. Brewster?
It's a wild turkey, Your Highness. But he's a young one, so he should be tender.
But surely you intend to debone it before sewing it up?
Debone it?
Yes. I will show you. Excuse me, please, ladies. Do you have, please, a small knife?
Yeah, will this do?
Ah, yes, that would be perfect. Excuse me, please. During my many years in exile, I've had to learn many things in order to survive. There now. You will find that it will hold more stuffing now, and if you bind it with bacon strips, it will best itself.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Ah, and this must be ice cream. We say glace in French. Delicious. But this calls for an Arctic potato.
An Arctic potato?
Yes, may we clean away some of this? You may take this away. Merci. Yes, and I will get to those. Yes, this. We'll use one of these. Comme ça. Oh, là, là. Faut sauver seulement ça comme ça. Voilà.
A prince engaging in menial labor.
Eh bien, will you please add a little bit of sugar as I beat? Yes, like that. Yes, a little bit, please. Ah, very good. Very good. Ainsi. Ainsi. Now we hollow out a cake.
Oh, Virginia, a large serving of ice cream, please. Small baking pan, someone? Hmm?
Will this do?
Oh, yes, perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Now, into the pie with it there. Perfect. All right. There we are. Now, a little meringue. Faire comme ça, le meringue, champon, élevons le meringue. Ainsi c'est fait. And now, into the oven with it.
Bake ice cream?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now. That's simple. Try it. You'll find the ice cream still frozen inside. Excusez-moi. Yeah. Israel, run tell Cincinnatus I need a cup of his best brandy. Let me see. Virginia, a cup of flour. We will use the yolks I used in the meringue, some milk, sugar, and oil. Yes, dump right in there. Bon. Okay. Oh, would you also please get me this, yes, that small hot frying pan on the top of the oven? Thank you, Virginia.
Is this hot enough?
Parfait. Comme ça, on le fait.
Cincinnati says it's the closest thing he has to brandy.
Très bien. Oh, mon Dieu. I need oh, Monsieur Boone, could you bring me a small splinter of blazing wood? Yes, thank you. Now, we pour the brandy into the pan.
It's just close to brandy.
Just close to brandy, yes. Thank you. Now, as we touch the flame to the spirits, please observe the beautiful results. Oh,
Israel.
it was not close enough.
Oh, look at your new white trousers.
Oh, it was all my fault. Oh, Madame Boone, will you ever forgive me?
Nothing, Your Highness. He can just run along home and change clothes.
Oh, Ma, do I have to?
Well, of course you do. You can't run around with batter all over you.
I'm an Ellie. Only satin breeches I ever had.
And now, ladies, we shall prepare the sauce de Richelieu.
Are you going to eat all of that?
This is just the first course. Never tasted such good food.
Excuse me, but why isn't anyone dancing?
Oh, they're just waiting for you to grab a partner and start things off, Louis.
Oh, and here I stand doing nothing. How rude of me.
Well, why don't you grab somebody up and give them a whirl?
Yes.
Your Highness, isn't that a waltz they're playing?
Yes, I believe it is. I always feel that a woman should have the first dance with her husband, but since he cannot dance until I do, will you have it with me, Madame Boone? With your permission, monsieur.
Why, I'd love to, Your Majesty.
I swear to you, Sylvia, I never tasted anything like this salad in my life. The dressing sent shivers up and down my spine. I can imagine what the prince put in it.
A thousand thanks, madame.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Your Highness.
And to you, monsieur.
All right, everybody. Ladies' choice and ladies' tag. Start the music.
Now's your chance. Ask him.
But I'm not sure he wants to dance with
He
me.
only thinks I might be jealous. Assure him that's not so good.
Surely it won't be conspicuous if we have a dance now.
All right. Excuse me, Your Excellency. Lady's choice. Would you like to dance?
Oh, thank you very much, but I have just been asked.
He refused you?
No, no. Virginia asked first.
Well, you can cut in.
Did you ever dance on the bare ground before?
Not ground. Clouds.
Ladies' tag. Virginia, and cutting in. Now I can tell my grandchildren I once danced with a prince.
Oh? How many do you have?
I like that. You hardly had 10 steps with him. Go on, cut back in, Virginia.
Mother, I can't tag someone, just tag me.
I'll fix that. Tag, Susan.
You are the mother of Virginia.
That's right. That's right.
You're Red Hyacinth.
Oh, you do.
All right, Virginia, cut back in now. Go on.
Mother.
You are Susan's mother, huh?
Tag, Mother. Oh, yes, dear, of course. Wasn't that sweet of Mother to do that for us?
Excuse me for a moment, please. Virginia! You're not leaving?
Yes.
Then may I see you home?
No, I don't think that'd be wise.
But why? I do not feel that you dislike me. I have the feeling that you like me very much.
I do. It was fun cooking with you.
And I know I like you.
No, you don't. Or you wouldn't be so cruel.
Cruel?
Because the more I see, the... And you know nothing will ever come of it. A week or 2 weeks, and then you'll be gone. I will not be a pastime. Not even for a prince.
Believe me, you are not a pastime. I wish I could be with you always.
And I wish you wouldn't say that. Because it only makes it hurt a little deeper. That's why I'm going home.
Please, Virginia, you do not understand. I am bound by duty to uphold the honor of the Bourbon name.
Is it honorable to make a girl dream silly, impossible dreams?
They're not silly. Family tradition, the habits of a lifetime, reverence for a name, a title, obedience to a command.
Obedience to a command?
Your Highness, you're not behaving like a proper prince.
And for a good reason. I am not a prince. I'm not a prince. I'm not a prince. I'm not a prince. I'm not a prince.
Then who are you?
I'm Bernard, a pretender. I'm actually Prince Louis-Philippe's servant, his cook.
His cook? I've been bowing and scraping to a cook. This man is a scoundrel. He's made fools of all of us. And I'm going to give him the thrashing of his life.
Watch out!
Yes, I have deceived you. But I have you to thank for making me realize how abysmally stupid I have been for playing a role I never wanted.
Me to thank?
Yes. Like me, you have been playing a silly role because of a misplaced honor naming a title. I offer you all my sincerest apologies. But if you have bowed to a title, then so have I. I've stood proxy for a prince because a prince commanded me to do so. And if I ever see him again, I will tell him what a generous reception you have prepared for him. But I'm not sure I will ever see him again. Does it make a difference? I'm only a cook.
Does it make a difference? Well, I'll say.
Imagine all that fuss over a common cook.
Edgar, will you please shut up?
Susan. Susan.
Mon Dieu. Excuse me, please.
Well, all I can say is we may have had the wrong prince, but we sure had the right protocol.
Well, Your Highness, I have some good news for you. Tomorrow you shall be dethroned.
I presume your hunting trip went well.
Oh, yes, as you can see, it was capital. And, Bernard, I have you to thank for that.
And I have you to thank.
Tell me, Bernard, how did you enjoy playing me?
Immensely. It taught me to be myself, Your Highness.
Oh, Bernard.
Oh, no, there's no longer need to pretend. They know I'm only a cook.
Bernard, I sense that maybe you no longer serve me.
By your leave, sire.
You have your freedom. I envy it.
Virginia Brewster. May I introduce
Louis Roy, a friend.
How do you do?
Jig, mister? He's mine. I saw him first. Come on, I'll teach you.
Non,
I'll teach you.
avec une, je peux danser.
Allez-y, Louis. Dansez le gig.
Écoutez-moi, c'est important. Bernard! Non. Je peux danser avec une, mais pas...
Amanda, stop that. Amanda, stop that.
Turn them around. Fais le gig.
I can't.
Mighty are the evil spirits of the woodland that have the power to do us harm, little Huck. But mightier still is the good medicine for Manitou, the great spirit that vanquishes them.
Tequitana speaks with great wisdom. For many moons, there's been war between us, Tequitana. As a blood brother of the Shawnee, as a friend of the Cherokee and the Tuscarora, I say that the white man and the red man should learn to live together in peace. I'm glad that Gabe has finally been able to arrange this meeting between us.
The ways of Manitou are strange, Boone. Strange even to the cunning of Tuscarora. It is not given to us alone to understand these. What remains mysterious to us may be knowledge to the white man. That is why I call you here today. The white medicine man. He is still in Boonesboro.
The white teacher, Pickering. It is Tequitana's wish to place his son in the white man's school.
To bring friendship and understanding between white man and Tuscarora. Lil Huck should be armed with both Tuscarora wisdom and white man knowledge. Your face darkens, Big Turtle. It is not your wish to bring understanding between our people?
As Tequatana bears witness, that has always been my wish. But my heart remains troubled. The white men of the settlement have often shown anger toward the Tuscarora, and the Tuscarora toward the whites. Even the small ones, of school age, both red and white, are not without anger. I wouldn't want anything to happen to Little Hawk, for that would destroy all chances of peace between us.
Little Hawk could stay with you, Boone.
We'd be honored to have him.
Then it is decided. Little Hawk will go with you now to attend school with the white man. Farewell, my son. Stand proud. Listen wisely. I know you will not disgrace us in the school of the white man.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
What'd he say?
Well, he didn't say no, and he didn't say yes.
What do you mean he didn't say yes or no?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't ask him.
You didn't ask him? Oh, Dan, that boy's expecting to go to school tomorrow.
I know.
Daniel Boone, you march right back to that schoolhouse and tell Amos Pickering he has another pupil.
Mr. Pickering. Oh, it isn't the man himself, Becky. It's just that stream of words that he can hurl at you. The first thing you know, you're sinking down in the bog of ancient history and Greek.
Well, Greeks or no Greeks, he's going to teach Little Hawk just like the rest of them.
Well, I promised Gabe and Tequatana that he'd get schooling. The only thing I didn't do was ask Mr. Pickering.
He's getting paid, isn't he?
Yeah, manner of speaking. But don't forget, he became our schoolmaster on the condition that he run the school with no interference from any of us.
Nobody's telling him how to run the school. Just telling him who to teach.
Mr. Pickering?
Oh, Mr. Boone, I didn't hear you come in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Non omnia possumus omnes. When I read Virgil, I lose all sense of time. Don't you?
I have enough trouble ciphering English, let alone Latin.
Then let me translate. We are not all capable of everything. And they say Latin is a dead language.
Mr. Pickering, there's something else that's not exactly dead around here.
Yes, Mr. Boone?
I'm talking about Indians.
Ah, the noble savage.
Well, the truth of the matter is they're no more noble than we are, or more savage. They're just people.
Come to the point, Mr. Boone.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I promised an Indian chief we'd give a son of his some schooling.
You promised?
I'm afraid I did.
Splendid. It'll be a great challenge to mold a gentleman out of a little savage. I presume I shall be paid for my services?
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. Some people consider their coinage better than ours.
Capital, Boone. Capital.
Good breakfast, huh, Little Hawk?
Yes, very good.
Think you like white man's food? What's wrong? Did I say something funny?
I'm afraid you did, Israel. You call this white man's food.
Well, it is, isn't it? I've been eating it all my life. Blueberries, Johnny cake with honey, and broiled trout.
That's Indian food, Israel. We got it from them.
Indians were making pancakes out of cornmeal and eating it with wild honey long before the white man came.
They just showed us how to do it. Berries and fish have always been favorite Indian food.
Not only for breakfast, anytime.
And don't forget about potatoes, pumpkins, squash, beans, yams. It's all Indian food. We learned about it from them.
And we're supposed to be teaching you our ways.
We will. He has a lot to learn. But we want him to know about our history, how we govern ourselves, what we believe in.
By learning the ways of the white man, my father says I serve as a link between the white man and the red.
Israel, I've got an important job for you.
You can trust me, Pa.
I want to make sure that Little Hawk gets started in school the right way, and that you help him with his lessons and that he gets along with the kids.
That's a big responsibility, Israel.
I can handle it.
Injun, smelly buck, where's the feathers of a duck? Injun, stinks to the tent, has no money, pays no rent. Injun, smelly buck, where's the feathers of a duck?
Where'd you get the duck feathers? It's an eagle feather. Nah, duck feathers.
Stop it! Stop it this instant! Get up. Get up, all of you. Stop this. You know I never permit violence in my school. If there is to be any violence, I shall administer it.
There wouldn't have been any trouble, sir, if that Injun hadn't showed up.
Yeah, we don't want any redskin kids in our school.
And Israel Boone brung him.
Brought. It's brought. Now, I shall decide who attends my school. All of you, march. I've had enough trouble for one day. I will tolerate no more. Now, before we begin today's lesson, I want to make very clear my position with regard to our new pupil. Now then, as a settlement, we have had our problems with the Tuscarora. And I dare say they have had their problems with us. But hopefully, we are in a new era of good feelings. And I hereby charge all of you to treat our new pupil with the same consideration that you would extend to any new boy. I hope it will not be necessary for me to mention this subject again. Oh, Mr. Boone.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Pickering. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's always a privilege to welcome the leader of our community.
Well, thank you. I just thought I'd stick my head in and see how things were going.
Splendidly, Mr. Boone. Splendidly. Did you think otherwise?
No, sir. Little Hawk's father is aware that the schoolmaster must be paid monthly for giving education in wampum or white man's goods.
That's correct. Payment in advance.
One pair of moccasins.
To comfort your feet.
One dried fish.
Good to eat. Last many weeks.
One bear claw necklace.
A necklace of bear claws?
To wear on festivals and holidays.
But bear claws?
Well, as you say yourself, Mr. Pickering, each pupil according to his ability to pay.
Yes?
It's Little Hawk's most cherished possession. He killed the bear himself.
It must have been a very large bear.
In his tribe, it's a part of the test of manhood.
How'd you kill him?
With a spear.
Well, that took great courage. You had to get quite close.
All right, class. Resume your seats. Little Hawk, please stand and tell us exactly how much education you have had, if any.
A missionary lived with my tribe many moons. He taught me how to speak the language of the Yengeese. He also taught me how to write. I know the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Wonder how the boys are doing in school, Boone.
Oh, I reckon they've had time to settle down. Angelo never was much of a scholar, but he's taken to it without too much of a fuss. At least he's never made a ruckus. As for, Little Hawk, I reckon he's had time to get used to the routine, settle down. Wouldn't surprise me to learn that he fits in just like a hand in a glove. All in all, I'd say things couldn't be much better.
Now then, the lower grades will write 3 verses from Mother Goose, from memory. Watch your penmanship. The middle grades will work out these problems in arithmetic at your desks. And the upper grades will write a brief description of the conquest of the Persian Empire by Alexander the Great. Yes, Little Hawk? Something you don't understand?
No, I understand what is to be done. I am puzzled about something else.
In regard to what?
Alexander the Great.
And why is that subject your concern?
Because I have sat here for many days, listening to you speak of him and of other great heroes of the white man. I have been here for almost 1 week. I've heard the teachings of the white man, his laws, his customs, his ancient kings, his heroes.
The past is the key to the future.
The Indians also have laws, customs, heroes, battles, traditions, and tales of ancient days.
Go on.
Why do you not teach of the great Indian hero, Hiawatha, a Mohawk who united the 5 Iroquois tribes?
Are you quite serious?
If the red man is to learn the white man's ways, surely the white man should learn the ways of the red man.
This is preposterous.
My father is a wise man. He has said, understanding is a path that travels 2 ways.
Yes, Joe, what is it?
It sounds like a good idea, Mr. Pickering. It'd be a lot more interesting learning about Indians than about those old Romans and freaks you told us about.
Greeks, not freaks. And studying the classics simply cannot be compared with learning the habits and superstitions of primitive savages.
But the Indians have taught us an awful lot about...
Enough. Let there be an immediate end to this discussion. It is my position that schools are not supposed to teach white children about Indians. It has never been done, and I see no point to it. Now, get on with your lessons.
Hey, Little Hawk, tell us some more things about the Redskins.
Yeah, tell us what you want old Pickering to teach us about.
There is too much to know. It would take many moons. I cannot tell everything in 1 afternoon.
Just give him an idea. Tell him some of the tests you had to take for that manhood.
Yeah. Most of it is secret. I would first have to get permission from the tribal elders. But I can tell you this. They tested my endurance, my courage, and my ability to withstand pain without crying out.
Gee, when my old man wallops me, I yell.
How come Indians always have such funny names, like Little Hawk and Yellow Lance, Standing Bear, White Cloud?
When an Indian child is born, the father walks out of the teepee full of happiness. And whatever he sees first, or the first thing that enters his mind, is what he names the child. That is supposed to bring good luck to the baby. When I was born, my father saw Little Hawk. When the child grows up, he can choose another name if it pleases him.
I wish I was an Indian. I'd sure call myself something besides Jonathan.
Hey, tell us something about your medicine man.
His most important job is to cure sickness. We call him shaman. The family of the sick person must pay him in advance to make the cure. But there's one great difference between the shaman and the doctor of the white people.
What's that?
If the patient dies, he has to pay back the fee.
The shaman can also change himself into an animal, talk to spirits, travel to the other world, make rain, foretell the future.
Oh, we don't have a doctor like that, do we? Gee, I never reckoned there was so much to learn about Indians. I'd sure like to learn about that stuff a lot more than about old Julius Caesar and King George III.
We all agree about it. Thing is, how do we convince Pickering to teach it in school? Tell you what we'll do. I'll get some of the other guys. Think about it. And after supper, we'll meet in the old cave. See if anybody thought of anything. Looks like everybody's here. Anybody got any ideas?
Suppose we all stay out of school for a few days. That'd make old Pickering give in.
Nah, that's no good. Then our folks will paddle us for not going.
Yeah, they'd give us extra chores if we're not in school.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, look. We want old Pickering to start teaching us about Indians, right?
Sure, we've already decided that.
And we're sore because he won't do it, right?
Joe Higby, will you stop telling us stuff we already know?
What you don't know is we got us what they call a grievance.
What's a grievance?
It's something that ain't fair. Grievances are what the Patriots had at the First Continental Congress. We learned about it in school.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah, it kind of stuck in my mind at the time because I had a grievance that we had to learn about all them grievances. Well, anyway, remember what the delegates did at the Congress?
Well, sure. They picked a committee, and then the committee made a list of all the colonial grievances. And they presented it all to the king in the form of a petition.
That's what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
A petition to Pickering.
Hey, that's good. Well, if the Patriots who started this country can do it, so can we. Pickering will have to give in. He's the one who told us about it.
Extraordinary. Utterly incredible. This is the most amazing document I have ever seen. 8 completely different sets of handwriting. The word grievance misspelled 5 different ways, and numerous other examples of unbelievable orthography. Sentence structure that threatens to destroy the very foundations of our language, and penmanship that can only be compared to the tracks made in wet snow by a drunken squirrel. Obviously, a cooperative effort. You didn't trust any single individual to do the job, so you botched it up collectively. The technical aspects of this document notwithstanding, I am deeply impressed by the concept of the petition, also by the sentiments expressed herein. I wish to compliment all of you on the approach you took. However, this school is not the Continental Congress, and I am not King George. And much as I may be in favor of a democracy, no school can be run like one. A school is a place of learning where the schoolmaster has absolute power to decide every aspect of the curriculum. And so, my dear young pupils, I know it will grieve you to hear this, but your request to begin a course of Red Indian Studies is hereby denied.
Seems like the only thing old Pickering knows about petitions is how to spell it.
What do we do now?
I don't know.
Tuscarora have wise saying, Chikwasea tush pachinio.
What does that mean?
Silence is the ambush of the weak.
You mean...
You haven't done your homework.
No, sir.
Baxter, I'm disappointed in you. Usually you're one of the boys I can depend upon to do his lessons. Take your seat. Jonathan, You name the two patriots who organized the Boston Tea Party.
I don't know, sir.
All right, class. All together. This is most unusual. Doesn't anybody know anything? Yesterday was a unique experience in the history of collective human stupidity. Never have I seen a class so utterly devoid of knowledge. I hope today there will be a vast improvement. Israel, open your reader and turn to the biblical story of David and Goliath and read the first paragraph aloud.
David was a young sheeper.
Shepherd. The word is shepherd.
Shepherd boy who tended his flock while King Saul.
Saul. King Saul.
Oh, yeah, King Saul was at war with the Philistines.
Philistines. Joe, will you come to the blackboard and work out the problem, showing every step?
I won't be able to do it, sir.
Why not?
I can't hold the chalk.
And why, pray tell, can't you hold the chalk?
I hurt my hand. I'm in awful pain.
Little Hawk, you've shown great proficiency in arithmetical computation. Will you come to the blackboard and solve the problem for the class?
I cannot hold the chalk either, sir.
What happened to you?
I was wrestling with Joe. I too hurt my hand.
Extraordinary. Perhaps you'll all feel better after lunch. Class dismissed. Well, class, now that our jolly lunchtime recess is over, let us get back to work. These are the parts of speech of the English language. Noun, verb, adjective, adverb, conjunction, preposition, pronoun, interjection. Now then, class, copy these on your papers and write a word to illustrate the use of each one. Well, proceed.
I lost my copybook.
Someone broke my pen.
I don't have any more ink.
Someone stole my inkwell.
Mine too.
What'd you say about conjunctions?
What's a pronoun?
Enough. Well, my friends, we have come to the end of a most interesting experience. This has all been a clever little plot to bring me to heel, eh? I would not accede to your demands to provide instruction about Indians. So you call a general revolt to bring me to heel. You seem eager to learn. Well, you will learn one very important lesson. Amos Pickering is not a man to be easily intimidated. I am herewith breaking up the revolt. I know who the ringleaders are, and they will be dealt with. Israel Boone, you will proceed to the woodpile and chop wood for the classroom stove. A 3-month supply will do for the start. Little Hawk, my wily redskin antagonist, you will secure whitewash, a bucket and a brush, and proceed to paint the schoolhouse and the fence. Joseph Higby, Jonathan Latimer, and Baxter Warren, You three co-conspirators will write 1,000 times the sentence, "I will not scheme against my teacher again." Well now, get on with it. Perhaps you did not hear?
We heard you, Mr. Pickering. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to be disciplined for doing something that we believe in.
Indeed. I will not tolerate defiance, nor I suspect will your parents, when I call a town meeting for tomorrow night.
White brothers, it gladdens my heart to see how much you try to help. Do not blame yourselves for having failed. Now it is my turn.
Got an idea?
I will go into the forest and pray and fast all night. I will ask Manitou, the Great Spirit, for guidance. He will tell me what we must do.
Think it'll work?
That is what the tribal chiefs do when they seek wisdom.
Well, I'd like to go with you, do all that stuff. Two of us working will happen faster.
You do not realize what you ask. It is hard for one who is not accustomed to it. It is better that I go alone.
Maybe I never took any of that manhood test or anything. But I reckon I can do anything you can.
As you wish.
It's a frost in the air tonight, boys. You sure you're not going to need some more cover?
No, thank you, Mom.
You know, I can still heat your supper up. You didn't have a thing to eat.
No, we're not hungry.
Well, that's no way for growing boys bearing the diggers.
What are you doing? It's freezing out here. All right. We have to put on war paint?
All Indian paint is not war paint. We paint our bodies and our faces for different reasons and in different ways. This is ceremonial paint.
I didn't know you had a frog. What are you gonna do, kill it?
No, we will do the frog dance to appease the gods, whom we respect for their wisdom.
Can I keep dancing? Keeps me warm. Just ask him.
O great spirit, which lives in everything, the sky, the earth, the trees, the grass, the animals and birds, hear us, we pray to you. Help us in our needs. Tell us what we must do to soften the heart of Pickering. Send us a vision
Oh, Great Spirit, I'm not an Indian, so I don't know if you're supposed to listen to me. But I'd sure be mighty pleased if you came through with everything little Huck just got through asking. Sure is kind of cool out here. This paint doesn't do much to keep a fellow warm. Sitting out in the night air sure gets a fella's appetite up. We didn't have any supper. You know what I do when I'm hungry at home in the middle of the night? I get up and I have a snack.
You must continue to pray.
I'm praying. Praying I had some food.
It is important to refrain from eating. Only by fasting and praying will the Great Spirit help us. You have a vision?
I reckon I do. The Great Spirit of the Indians talked to me. I know just what to do to put the pressure on old Pickering.
What is it? Tell me.
I'll be glad to tell you right after breakfast. Oh, thanks a lot, Great Spirit. Come on.
Oh, that's the way I like to see boys eat. Guess a good night's sleep must have perked up your appetites.
Pedro, would you come out here a minute?
Sure, Pa.
I figured it's time for you and me to have a little talk.
What about?
Well, it seems Mr. Pickering is mighty upset with you. He's called a special parents' meeting tonight. You mind telling me what it's all about?
Fact is, I don't like school anymore.
That's kind of sudden, isn't it?
Teaches us stuff we don't have any use for, like old dead kings and queens and Mother Goose for kids. Fractions.
Mr. Pickering's a fine teacher. He's teaching you important things like our country got its independence.
Sure. Y'all agree that's good to know, but all the other stuff's a waste of time compared to other things.
What other things? I'd like to hear about it.
Well, Little Hawk had a good idea. So we gave it to old Pickering. If Indians are going to learn about white folks so there'd be better understanding and peace, well, why can't white kids learn about Indians?
So what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
Huh?
That's from one of those nursery rhymes you don't think much of. So you asked Mr. Pickering to tell you more about the Indians, and he refused.
We even drew up a list of grievances. When that didn't work, we decided to gang up on him, to make him give in.
What do you mean, gang up on him?
Guess you could call it mutiny.
And I take it that my son is one of the head mutineers? Why didn't you tell your mother and me about the reason for this revolt?
Decided not to tell our parents. They always side with the teacher.
Well, I reckon this is one parent that doesn't. I don't always agree with Mr. Pickering.
You don't?
No, I think it's a fine idea for you to learn more about Indians. I think you have a right to. But I think Mr. Pickering has some rights, too. He has a right to order and cooperation in the classroom. Now, you take care of that, and I'll do what I can about those Indian studies.
You will?
Sure. Don't know why not. I'll get a hold of Gabe. We can come over after class in the afternoon. I'll tell the parents about it at the meeting tonight.
Gee, thanks, Pa.
Get in there and finish your mush.
What, you stay up all night and fast and pray? Sure we did.
Did you get a vision from the Great Spirit? He did.
I thought of a great plan. We won't need it now.
Why not?
Because we're going to get all we want. I talked my pa into it.
How do we know we can trust him?
You saying you can't trust my pa?
I'm saying you can't trust any grown-ups. Not when they're all together.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to attend that town meeting tonight.
And I confess that I am completely powerless to cope with such insurrection. Since the situation is so critical, I put it to you. You parents are the only ones who can deal effectively with your own children and crush this odious threat to the very existence of our school.
I say without trouble making young'uns need is a good tannin. I think it's the only way to learn them respect.
That's what We've heard from Mr. Pickering, and no doubt he's been sorely put on, and we've also heard from Mr. Higbee, and I can see that most of you favor his notion. Maybe our kids have gone about this all wrong, but their hearts were in the right place, and they want what we all want, peace with the Indians. And they think maybe that'll be easier to come by if they know more about them. Now, I think I have a way that we might be able to avoid Mr. Higbee's idea of a workout in the woodshed and still satisfy our schoolmaster and the young'uns. Now, why don't Gabe and I teach a class in Indian studies after school? That way, the young'uns would be getting what they want. Mr. Pickering would be getting what he wants, control, and everybody else could be happy.
I don't know about you folks, but I can't spare my boy for extra class time. I'm a widow, and he's got to help with the chores.
I can't spare mine neither. What good is it to know about Indians? It ain't important.
That's right, it ain't. The most important things that we should in school learn.
Our kids think it is. Well, maybe we ought to listen to them for a change.
Now, all they need to know is reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, that's what school is for.
Well, that's right, and that's what we should be.
Let's put it to a vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no vote. Mr. Boone, your son is the ringleader of a group of rebels. He has incited them to unruly behavior, disruption of orderly routine, and open defiance of my authority. And you, sir, have the temerity to propose teaching my pupils a subject I have decided was non-essential. By so doing, you also are undermining my authority. Under the circumstances, I have no alternative but to resign immediately. And you, sir, if you so ardently wish to become a teacher, can take over the entire school yourself.
You can't leave.
We'll find somebody else.
Because schoolmasters are harder to find than feathers on a fish.
We'll be months looking for another teacher.
And all that time, our young'uns ain't got no school at all.
I guess there's nothing to do except go ahead with plan.
Well, you know, when the parents of Boonesboro get all riled up, they certainly can turn the air blue, and you blistered me pretty good. I feel that the kids would have benefited from Indian studies, but maybe you're right, and certainly regular school studies come first, and I wouldn't want to lose Mr. Pickering. So, I'll just withdraw my suggestion.
Yeah. A wise decision, Mr. Boone. We all thank you. Now then, let's get on to other problems. We will have more pupils in school next year. We need to expand the schoolhouse, buy additional supplies.
So if we set up a community fund and all the families that have a child in school contributes to it, we'll have enough easily to get our supplies. What in the world are you doing?
We dressed up like Indians and made it rain, just like the grown-ups did.
Grown-ups? What do you mean, grown-ups?
The patriots in Boston. Mr. Pickering told us about them. They were protesting against injustice.
Yeah, Samuel Adams and Paul Revere and all of his friends. They pretended to be Indians, and they raided all the British ships in the harbor, threw all the tea in the ocean.
They call that the Boston Tea Party.
This is the Boonesboro Book Party.
Yeah!
The Boonesboro Book Party.
Just like the tea. Our school books are an injustice to us.
So we did what Samuel Adams did with the tea. We threw it in the ocean. I mean, well.
Well, Mr. Pickering, you're a real good teacher. These young'uns have learned their lessons real well. But that was a rather drastic way to show your feelings, wasn't it?
Just did what we reckoned was right, Pa. We had courage of our conviction, which you say people should always have. Just following your advice.
Perhaps my pupils consider me a harsh man, but I am also a fair one. Above all, I admire courage and independence of spirit. I can't help respect what my boys have done in defense of a principle. Remember that education has for its object the formation of character. And if I fail to teach them anything else, I should always admire the fact that they possess character. Now then, I believe I'm a more reasonable man than was King George of England. The Boonesboro Book Party has accomplished its purpose. And starting tomorrow, I will begin teaching what my pupils so adamantly want, the history and culture of their Indian neighbors.
Well, you're a real good man, Mr. Pickering, and we're real lucky to have you. But there's still a great big problem. We have to continue with our school studies, and we can't. All the books we have are gone. They're ruined.
Here are your books, Pa. We made sure they'd be all right. So before we put them in the bag, we wrapped them in waterproof oilskin.
I will outline briefly the areas we will cover. Regretfully, I am a novice in this field, but Mr. Boone and Mr. Cooper have graciously volunteered to help me whenever I falter.
You might just say we're visiting professors. Only you won't have to pay us in dried fish or bear claw necklaces.
There are many Indian tribes in North America, all of them loosely related, but their languages, customs, and traditions differ greatly. And because the subject is so vast, it's best that we concentrate on those tribes in our part of the country.
You're going to learn about Indian handicraft. As Little Hawk knows, the Indians are great pottery makers and basket weavers. And I'll teach you about this picture writing, which tells about their customs and legends.
We'll cover Indian government, their political organizations, their treaties, their laws. It may come as a surprise to many white people, but the 5 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca, are very advanced politically. They have elected representatives, and they meet in a council house somewhat like our Congress.
I reckon I'm going to help Mr. Pickering tell you about Indian heroes. Pontiac, the chief of the Ottawas. Hiawatha, a Mohawk who united the 5 Iroquois tribes. Logan, the fighting chief of the Cayugas.
Logan's Indian name was Hayutaha.
Hayuta. Do not feel badly. To an Indian, the name Pickering is just as difficult.
Yes.
I have been listening to your words, and to those of Boone, and to the mighty chief of the Blackskin, Kanawachakahu. I did not send my son to the school of the white man to learn about the ways of the Indian.
Well, Chief, the way it's working out, we're learning from one another.
You have filled my heart with gladness for what you have done for Little Huck.
Thank you.
But now, I have come to take my son with me.
Must he leave now?
It's time for the tribe to move on. They have to go where there's fresh game.
We will come back in 6 or 7 moons.
Can't you stay behind?
I have passed the test for manhood. I must do my share of the hunting.
Little Hawk. There will always be a place for you here. Until you come back, keep this with you.
It is good medicine. I will keep it to ward off the evil spirits of ignorance.